and I am here. This is Chatcast on behalf of the Coalition of Visionary Resources. We are the trade organization for the mind, body, spirit industry. And today I have actually two very special guests. We've got Jada Fire, who's pictured here, and then we've got Stacy James, who is with us online. She's watching our broadcast today, but couldn't be online with us. So she's going to be with us from Kansas City. And we've got Jada here from British Columbia. And I'm so excited. These two ladies have created this magnificent deck called the Ancient Animal Wisdom Oracle Deck. It is a fantastic deck, and I'm so glad to have you guys here. How are you today?
Yeah, I've been looking forward to our time together and sharing some of the wisdom of the deck and, yeah, serving our community in the highest.
Yes, indeed.
Working with the animals and numerology.
So both you and Stacy work with clients and do readings. And I know that Stacy was talking about how her specialty is to work with people to help them really focus on their life's purpose through her readings. What's your specialty?
Okay, well, my specialty when it comes to the deck itself, the Ancient Animal Wisdom deck, I'm the artist and illustrator for the deck, and then co-created the messages with Stacy. So she and I are the mamas of the deck, and when it came together in about 2012 was when things started really going strong with this particular deck.
Right.
I was really called into this as an assignment. Didn't really see it at the time. I think I was going to be utilizing oracle cards every day, like I do. And I utilize the cards as a theme or an intention in the practice. So they are a daily part of my life. My son and my husband, we pull cards at breakfast. All of our friends and family know the animal cards. I think for myself, when I do readings, what I notice with this particular deck is that you can really drop into the emotional body very fast.
Mm-hmm.
So you can take a perfect stranger or a man or a child or a sister goddess, and whether you know them or not, we somehow just drop into this emotional healing space very quickly. Yeah, so it's not unusual to be doing a reading and suddenly we're in tears or we're talking about generations long ago and how that's showing up today. So we go really deep pretty quickly, I find, with these cards. I think because they're animals, there's a different sensation, grounding and connection than, say, angels or other. So it's a real honor to work with the middle world and the animal kingdom in this way.
Right.
The readings. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Stacy was just saying that she saw two eagles today and drew the owl card. Talk to us about the significance of that. And then maybe you could draw a card as well, just to connect us to our theme for today. You drew, okay, that's the owl card. I was about to say you drew that too, but
absolutely. Well,
yeah.
I'm super connected to the owl card. It's definitely a favorite in the. I didn't pull it. I pulled it out because I know Stacy pulled it. I actually pulled the kite today, which I'll talk about.
Oh, interesting.
And I also pulled the penguins. So we'll get into the story on those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a few birds. Eagle. Yeah, eagle that Stacy was commenting on seeing in the wildlife out there is a great message because we're at the start of 2021. And I think there is naturally a lot of concern or worry and uncertainty as to where things are going. The fish eagle in our book speaks to really knowing that we're not alone. We are guided that ultimately. It doesn't matter what someone says or the media is telling us. We need to tap into a higher source of protection.
Right.
And I see that eagle that's coming as a sign to really trust we're not alone, super connected. We can be more positive guide. It's great spirit. So I think that's an easy association for us to make when we're connected. Source is call upon great spirit. So we'll have the eagle open up our reading today. But if we go to the owl, I'd like to elaborate on the cards. I know Stacy and I often go to the deck because when you read from the booklet itself, you can also understand that when you have your own deck, it's easy to interpret on owl, and then we can talk about that if that's okay. Okay.
Absolutely.
So the owl is the inner. Yeah. The owl is the inner shaman. Shaman lives with his heart in two places. One lives within, and the other invisibly extends through the crown of his head, resting high above his auric field. This dual heart energy connects you, an owl, to your spirit world and ancestors of light. Shaman's heart blesses you today in accepting that you are your own greatest healer. When owl comes calling, it is time to tap into and trust your sound of a drum, rhythmically in tune with the beat of your own heart. Release the ego mind and become one with your true self. All of your answers live within you. Today is the day to embrace a nature walk, let loose with a tribal dance, or perhaps seek out a fellow healer to share in light work together. From our booklet. And when the owl comes out, it's definitely a message to embody the inner healer. And it's easy to find resources all the time, but it's very important that we let go of those external distractions and we come home to that inner knowing, and that will cultivate that deep inner shaman that we all have.
Right.
So,
and I think that's a message that it's
Stacy
really important.
Add to that.
I think it's really important that, especially during this time where so many people feel isolated, that's a great reminder for us to remember we have everything that we need inside, and to go there first before we take our information from the outside. Yeah, is Stacy, are you there with us? I don't see you in the comments yet.
Yeah.
So I don't see her, but she'll let us know. She will let us know. Okay, so what card is next?
Yeah, but in the meantime, so the next card is the penguin, and the penguin in our deck, it's a 6 in numerology, so it's a 24, and that is our 6th number. And 6 is about peace and justice. And when the penguin comes out, it really points to nurturing and caring for the internal home. So like really looking at your nest, the nest that you live in, the nest that I live in, it gives us an opportunity to say, how am I holding sacred boundary around my nest? Who am I letting into my sacred space? And then you can look at your physical body as that sacred space, like what nutrition and fluids am I pulling into my sacred space of my body. So we get to look at the nest and the internal home. And the name of the card actually is abundance, which is interesting. So there's a few messages with this penguin, and I want to just jump to the book for a moment, because it's abundance and fertility. So it also is pointing us into a direction of where we're putting our creative energy. This is a whole new cycle, this new year that we're in. And so it's a sign of fertility and abundance. Well, it's like, what do we want to manifest? What do we want to create? So on top of nurturing that internal home, which is basically home base, once that's solid and resonant and healthy, and we could do anything. So I see the penguin as a blessing to, first and foremost, especially coupled with the owl, home and the inner healer showing up for you, and then seeing, what you'd like to manifest from that place of health and grounding is what I'll say about the penguin. But Yeah, definitely a good time to, with all this free time, I feel like we all have been given this like order to go in, and naturally it's winter and there's snow everywhere around, so the dark season. But you know, we have solstices come, so there's light returning, and as much as we need to be in that cave, we can start to manifest and think about what do we want to do as we come out of our cave into spring, which is the corner.
Right. So Stacy is now here with
a good time to think about what we're. Oh, great.
Stacy's here with us,
and maybe
I think a lot of what our membership wants to know is how did you guys create this deck? What was the process? How did you meet? Why did you decide to do a deck, and how did you produce it? How did you produce it, print it, and sell it? So tell me your business process. And Stacy, can join us.
Stacy,
write what you want.
Okay. So Stacy and I met in Las Vegas. I think it must have been in like 2009. We were friends just here and there, just kind of around the way in the community. And actually the deck is fully Stacy's idea. It came to her pretty divinely. She has her own story about how that inspiration came to her about embarking on creating an ancient animal wisdom deck based on the animals of Africa. So these are not, in our deck, you're not going to find like a bear. You're going to tap into gazelle and zebra and kudu and animals that live in the motherland. Stacy has a company, a nonprofit organization called Dazzle Africa that does a lot of beautiful work with education and wildlife conservation in Zambia. And so she was visiting the motherland year after year and had asked me back in 2010, 11, if I was interested in a project. And I said, and it was over the phone, and I didn't know her like too intimately at the time, but my intuition told me when she called, she's going to ask me to do an animal deck. It just told me. And she said, how did you know? And I said, I don't know, but let's talk about it, right? So we got together in Las Vegas, and she proposed all of her ideas and inspirations around all the different animals that would potentially live in this deck. And there's 38 cards in the deck, and there's two lucky trees that are of origin in Africa, the sausage fruit tree and the baobab tree, and the rest are animals. So we spent some time just kind of mulling out and listening and lighting candles and having a lot of quiet time. Our son, my husband and I have a little boy who's now 10. He was 2 at the time. So he actually, this is an important piece. At 2 years old, he loved elephants more than anything. There was like, the elephant was his like spirit guide, and he wouldn't go anywhere without this little elephant in his pocket. And I smiled because I call Stacy the elephant. So when she came to me about the project, and the elephant was sort of a matriarch in this whole deck, I just smiled and I said, okay, definitely an assignment that we'll do together. So that being, there's a lot of love and support that go to the elephants in Zambia just because of this project in itself. But back to the creation, she and I came together. Kristen?
Well, Stacy was saying, she said that a vision came to her after a Lomi Lomi massage. That was the thing that triggered her experience or evolution with this.
Yes. I remember that story. That was when she got her first calling to step into this creation of deck. And so, she had asked if I would do the art, the illustration. And I thought, well, gosh, this is a pretty big need to find the style and just the cohesion and the whole unity of the work. So it took me a little bit just to kind of find the first flow. And the monkey was one of the first ones. Actually, there you go, flipped it upside down. I laugh because whenever we pull cards, we usually pull the top and the bottom, and that's the bottom. So yeah, got into the drawing, and then we met time and time again, and yeah.
I was going to say, give us one key word of the meaning of monkey, like its connection. What's one key word?
Adventure.
Okay, interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, adventure. It is, because I actually pulled monkey last night before I went to bed, and it's come out a few times in the past few days. And it's interesting because I think we're in a time where we somehow think that adventure isn't alive in us because we have to be home and be inside. And
yes,
but it's all about manifestation and creation, and this is the time in which those manifestations and creations can be written out, they can be spoken in prayer, they can help us shape our new mantras, and with that comes adventure. So yeah, really embracing this is important. So that's the message of monkey.
And
so
I was going to say, once you got the deck together, what was the next step for you?
So the next step was, my husband is quite magical on the computer, and he helps take the images into a high resolution scan. And we found a local print house, and we kind of just very grassroots started. We even cut out the cards individually at first. And we had, and then we had and then we had little pouches, and they were going into all these different spirit shop. A woman, Karen, who is a dear friend of Stacy and mine, and she had said, you know, you ladies, you need to go to INATS, the International New Age Trade Show in Colorado. I think it was Denver. And she said, bring the deck and just get a table and you'll see. So we're like, okay, let's go. So we took my 2.5-year-old, my husband and I, and Stacy and her cousin, and we all just made a great road trip of it. And we set up the cards in the table. And that's, we right across from, I think, Louise Hayes' table. And so many great vendors were there. Clarissa Pinkola Estes even walked by and played with our cards. And that was a pretty special moment for Stacy, who really got to observe that. And then the next thing you know, US Games comes around, and they just lit up. They saw we were doing, and the energy was really bright and strong. And the illustration and the art's very bright. So we had like a banner and some bigger representations of the art and the deck. And we did readings that day. I think it was like a 2-day convention. And then by the second day, we were offered a contract through US Games to get published with them. And we were just over the top. We thought this feels like a really good accomplishment. So then US Games took the deck and made a box and put the booklet in the box with the cards. And so that's how they get around the world now. And in Canada, the USA, Italy, they're really traveling. They're getting more and more popular. And yeah, there's people Amazon and lots of people doing readings with them. It's a very friendly deck. It's a really it's different than tarot. It's got like a softness to it and a deep emotional quality of healing potential in the card. So yeah.
Wonderful.
That's basically the story. And then
amazing.
Yeah, from there, I live in Canada, and Stacy's in the States, so we put our readings online and schedule private readings to the local community. So much is online now too. So if anybody out there is interested in a reading, with myself or Stacy, we're available for that. And yeah, we both definitely have.
Yes, and I was going to say, if Stacy, if you want to put in the comments your information of how people can contact you and how people can contact Jada, that would be great. So that we can have that here. People will always be able to come back and refer to it. So I have one last question for both of you. So Stacy, you can write it in the comments and I'll read it. And for you, Jada, what was the biggest obstacle that you had to overcome in getting this work out to the world? What was the biggest obstacle for you in your mind, and how you overcame it?
Okay. Well, anytime you take on a body of work like this, writing out the work and the art took quite a bit of dedication and time. Consistency is key. So when you're building any project, a card deck or writing a book for that matter, I think it's just the key was really staying on track, like really give yourself a time frame to work within. We felt really divinely supported on this deck. We finished the entire project in 4 months, which is a short amount of time. Yeah. It was like from the idea, the execution to the completion, like it was a 4-month. So that's where I do feel it was very divinely led. So I think when you have a spiritual calling to follow through with an assignment, we need to listen to that, and we need to take action on whatever that might be, and take yourself through the process and the journey and let yourself complete it. It doesn't mean it has to happen in a hurry, but just stay on track, and consistency is key. And I always like to say, one of my favorite things to say and to live by is creating brings us closest to creator. So we were in a beautiful creative process as we connected and pulled information and intuitively sat and listened and gathered the storyline, the history of the animals, the backstories on the numerology, all the pieces that came together. And that was just the beauty. The journey's the best part. So it was a wonderful assignment. And I and Stacy were both thrilled that we have this. It's a gift, and so our hope is that they'll continue moving these sweet little boxes of insight and magic to so many different spirit shops all over the world. We just want to see all the different spirit shops that carry cards and crystals and stones and beautiful offerings to have these on their shelves. And, children love them. Children love them. These cards were actually my son's first flashcards. So he's learned very young to, read the names of elephants and see the butterfly. And even today we can it's fun to see the kids actually make up their own games as they play with these cards. So it's neat because men and women and children just seem to really enjoy these cards. And I know anybody who has a deck will. So it's definitely a way to connect the family and community. So
wonderful. So Stacy just she didn't hear the question, so I've just written it to her about what was the greatest obstacle that she had to overcome to bring the cards into fruition, and hopefully she can. This has been it's such a unique time right now. We are all required to be patient and innovative and go with the flow in any situation to get the message out for sure. So while she's writing that, what was your favorite part of this process?
I think my favorite, the process was pretty focused. And so I was kind of like in a tunnel vision. My son was doing those 3-hour naps a day as a little toddler, right? And so I really was focused, and I just But my favorite part of the whole thing was realizing after the cards were actually available to ourselves and the world, I didn't think I would use them as much as I do. I didn't realize that they were going to actually become my own divination tool. I thought that I was doing this project for the world as an assignment, but it surprised me delightfully how connected I am to the cards and how I will go to them for questions or insights all the time. So that's a really lovely part of it all. Like, you know, because when you give so much of yourself, you think sometimes you're doing this externally, but when you feel it internally at the same time, it's really a beautiful balance. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that it really it connects to these parts of you that are archetypal parts of ourselves that connect with other people. These are the things, the archetypal messages that we have in common with every other person on the planet. You know, some people understand and resonate and can communicate that, and then others feel it and intuit it. But we are all interconnected. So Stacy tells us that her obstacle was just sorting through time, but it was fun and so on purpose that it didn't as much feel like an obstacle. Fun, she says, working with her friend Jada and being able to share this beautiful gift with the world. So that is a beautiful place to end our interview today. It's really been a pleasure to meet you, Jada, and to meet you, Stacy. I'm sorry we didn't get to see you, but we will have you guys on again, and we'll get to see you soon. So that's our owl card that's going to give us a sign out. And thank you both so much on behalf of the Coalition of Visionary Resources. I am Tracee Dunblazier, and we are the trade organization for the mind, body, spirit industry. So thanks again, and everyone have a magnificent afternoon.